Hey guys, GP here, and I finally have the channel update video that I wanted to send out to you guys. Um, just to let you guys know, this is going to be a very long video, but I really appreciate if you guys stuck around and watch it, just so you guys know what to expect from this channel, because just I have a lot of explaining to do, and I don't know, hopefully you guys will find it interesting and be excited to watch the future content that's coming from this channel. That's going to be coming from this channel. So first, I just want to say in the background, I got some BF3 gameplay on Grand Bazaar with one of my friends, Force296, and he eventually ends up on the other team in this video. But nonetheless, just so you guys know kind of what's in the background of this video, I just wanted something a little bit different for the gameplay. So this is actually a really old round that I had on Battlefield 3. But nonetheless, I think I ended up getting a pretty good score in the video. Um, I don't know if I'm going to include the whole match because it's a really long match. It just kind of depends on how long I ended up talking here. And just so you guys know, I've probably already said this. This is going to be a long video. I'm probably going to ramble a lot. I may repeat myself a lot. I'm probably going to make some mistakes. May miss some things on what I want to say because I have a lot that I want to get out to you guys. But I may make another video if there's something I missed, or put something in the comment section if I missed something, or if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything of that sort, just let me know in the comments and hopefully I can get to that. But nonetheless, let me just start with talking about my YouTube channel in general. First of all, I just want to apologize for not uploading much and just not finishing the different series of the different playlists and shows and stuff that I was starting on this channel, such as like the How Not to Be a Noob, um, the Death from the Skies, even though that's not really necessarily trying to finish a series because it's not like a tips and tricks, but I didn't really upload a lot of stuff like that. I didn't really do like a lot of pub it ups and stuff like that. Just I didn't really include a lot of content in general, and I didn't even finish the series like the heli tips and the How Not to Be a Noob. Um, so I just want to apologize for that. Um, Now let's kind of rewind back to the very beginning of this YouTube channel. As you guys could probably see if you've watched any of my really recent or really old videos on this channel, you could tell that I was really young. Kind of had like a squeaky chipmunk voice. Um, so back then I don't know, I didn't really know a lot of information, didn't know a lot about gaming and YouTube in general. And I apologize for that because just I don't know, I just wasn't really a good YouTuber in general. Um, and I was still really young and learning a lot back then, and I'm still young and learning, but I've learned a lot more since then to what now and what I really need to do with this channel, and I know what I want to do with this channel at this point. Um, and I was actually looking at some of my old videos, and I realized how honestly just like how bad of a YouTuber I really was, and how I really wasn't keeping you guys up to date with anything. I just wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't uploading content very often. Um, and honestly, even before this channel, I actually had an old YouTube channel under a family member's account name where I made videos there, and I was even a worse YouTuber on that channel than I was in this one. And if you guys want to just laugh at me or just get a kick out of something, I'll even link that channel in the thing. I was really young um, when I was doing those videos. Didn't really know hardly anything about just just YouTube and gaming and all sorts of stuff like that. So if you guys want to get a good laugh and make fun of me, go for it. Now let's talk about what the future plans are for this channel. Um, and then at the very end of this video, I'll kind of talk about like my gaming story, and I'll keep you guys up to date for all the stuff that up till pretty recently, all the way back till like almost to a year plus ago, where I didn't really keep you guys up to date with my channel. But for right now, let's talk about what's in store for the future of this channel. As you guys probably know, Battlefield Hardline is out, and I'm really hoping to be competing in that game. Um, I'm currently not on a team for Battlefield Hardline. I've debated making a team. I may look at a team to join. I'm not really sure what I want to do with that yet. But yeah, that's definitely something I do want to compete in. Because the game does have its issues, and yeah, there's definitely issues with the game and stuff, but I really do want to compete in the game, and I'm kind of excited to get into it. I just gotta find the right team for me. Um, Now for the YouTube channel itself, now that Hardline's coming out, I want to shrink down the amount of different series that I'm doing. Um, as you guys know, I had like all these different series I was doing, like the How Not to Be a Noob, the Heli tips, and I was doing like map tips and stuff like that back in the BF3 days. And I don't feel like I was keeping up with keeping up with all of it, and I felt like I was kind of limiting myself with a lot of things. I don't know, I just didn't really like I don't really like the way didn't really like the way it felt. Um, so I'm no longer gonna have like different playlists for each type of gameplay. There will simply be pretty much three main categories. There's gonna be from now on, competitive scrims and matches is going to be like one playlist. Then there's going to be a playlist for pub gameplay, and then there's going to be a playlist for tips and trick stuff. Now there may be some unique videos that do not fit those guidelines, but for the most part, my videos are going to fall into one of those three categories. It's either going to be competitive stuff, whether it's like scrims or matches or stuff I'm doing, whether it's pub gameplay or whether it's tips and tricks. And the gameplay can be all sorts of stuff, from me playing with a friend to me doing well in a public game and commentating over it, or to me playing and having music in the background or something like that. So I don't feel necessarily constrained with the gameplay. Like gameplays is just going to be its own category, and each gameplay video will be a little bit different. Maybe it's me a playing with a friend or something like that, or me just doing well in the heli or something like that, and me putting music in the background or something like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do for that. Sorry guys, I have like a huge list. There's a lot of stuff I want to cover, so I'm just kind of sorry if I'm rambling and not really making a lot of sense. Um, now that Hardline is out, though, I do want to focus on infantry for the tips and tricks because that is my bread and butter. I don't really want to branch out too much into heli stuff, even though I have done some heli competitive stuff. I don't have a lot of heli competitive experience, um, and it's not. I don't focus on it nearly as much as I do with infantry, because infantry is where I have a lot of my competitive experience, and it's where I dedicate most of my time to improving, is mainly to infantry. Um, yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that the most of the tips and trick stuff, it's gonna focus on infantry. There may be an occasional like weird tips and tricks video on something a little off the wall or something like that. For the most part, the tips and tricks is going to focus on infantry stuff. And once again, guys, I just want to apologize for not finishing the different series I was doing on my channel. Um, yeah, it was just kind of I don't know. It's really disappointing when you think about it. All these different ideas I had and all the stuff I could have done, but I just never did it. And yeah, I kind of don't want that to happen again. I want to have more general topics and stuff, and I just want to upload just tons of content on this channel. Now that tips and tricks is mainly going to be infantry, I don't know, I may just keep it as the How Not to Be a Noob. That may be still the tips and tricks. But yeah, just so you guys know, and there'll be the gameplay, the competitive stuff as the other two main categories, like I said. And now that Hardline is out, I will be doing BF4 and Battlefield Hardline videos, and maybe a BF3 video or some other game every once in a while. Now, I won't be doing BF4 tutorial videos anymore. At least I don't plan on doing those anymore. I'm going to focus on actually Battlefield Hardline, tips and tricks videos, I should say. Talk about infantry stuff, like talking about peaks, how to take peaks, pre-firing, stuff like that, which may be similar to some of the stuff I went over in Battlefield 4. But yeah, that's where the tips and tricks stuff is going to focus. And hopefully, if I can do competitive and hardline as well onto a team and stuff, I can hopefully upload competitive matches for Battlefield Hardline. And then BF4, if I do upload BF4 videos, most likely it will be like gameplay, just gameplay of me playing with a friend or me doing well in a server or in a public server or something like that. Or maybe even if I do a pickup scrim or go back and ring for a team in a match or scrim or something like that. I don't know, but BF4 probably, yeah, BF4 is not going to have the tips and tricks. BF4 may have competitive stuff like Hardline is, but it's just not going to have like the tips and tricks like I'm going to start doing for Hardline. So yeah, once again, I apologize, guys, for all the mistakes I've made on this channel, and for how bad of a YouTuber I used to be. But that's going to change, and now I really want to, most of all, keep you guys up to date all the time, and just kind of make sure you guys know what's gonna be happening. Um, Now let's kind of talk about um the competitive scene, what's happened. So let's roll back to trying to think, a year plus ago. Like right when I actually made a video, I believe talking about, I called it channel update. It was a really old video. It was like BF3 gameplay of a channel update where I talked about me joining a competitive clan called ATF. Actually, that's something. Okay, that's gonna be like my gaming story that I'll cover at the end of this video. So first, let me talk about more recent stuff. Um, which this is still like about a year ago, but it's actually just after this. Um, so yeah, it'll all start to make sense in a minute. But nonetheless, a long time ago, I actually made about a year ago, I made the BF4 channel, BF4 gameplay channel update. You can see it on my channel where I talk about the gaming community I was playing with, Chaos, merged with another community called Optics Gaming to form E2, and that's what the competitive team was going to be. And actually, never really after that, I never really kept you guys up to date with what ended up happening with that. And just like I said, I just wasn't doing a really good job of being a YouTuber. So right now, I just kind of want to cover um, what's going on with that. And yeah. So yeah, once we merged with Optics Gaming, we formed E2. And once we created the competitive team, um, things, unfortunately, with the group of people we had, started to kind of fall apart. People had, I don't know, di things just didn't really click anymore. People didn't really want to play the game anymore. People really weren't interested in competing that much anymore. So, for the most part, the group of people that were on the team kind of it kind of fell apart, to be honest. And basically, after a certain period of time, it was basically just me and one other guy by the name of Curse Expert. And at that point, I wasn't really exactly sure what I wanted to do. I still wanted to compete. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up rebuilding the team. That's why in the videos that you guys were seeing on your end, um, there was probably names that you guys didn't recognize from my older videos of the E2 and Team Chaos playing together, because I had to recruit basically a brand new roster. And once I did this, even once I started to get a brand new roster, had a lot of roster changes. I picked up a few people, then I lost people throughout this time. So there was like this period of time where I was just like building, people were leaving, building, people were leaving, building, people were leaving, and I was putting all this work into it. And I eventually started to get a pretty steady group. Um, but we just weren't at the necessary, like the high tier level that I wanted us to be at. That I wanted to compete with a team at. I wanted to be yeah, I wanted to be a top tier team, and I just didn't really feel like we had that all the time. When we had our game on, we were a pretty strong team, but for the most part, things didn't really click and things didn't work out very well. For the most part. It was a great group of guys. We were all really good friends. We were a really good team. Things just didn't really work. It wasn't meant to be. One of the guys actually ended up quitting competitive Battlefield. He just didn't want to take Battlefield seriously anymore. And then one of our other guys decided to go to a different team at the time. So at that point, it kind of left just me and a couple other people, and there really wasn't much to work with. I was kind of at this point tired of trying to build a team, So this actually kind of led to the E2 competitive team falling apart. So obviously, um, if you guys knew it or not, E2 was still a community, still had all sorts of games that they played and stuff like that, such as Minecraft, World of Warcraft, World of Tanks, Battlefield, stuff like that. They still played all these games. They were still a community. But the competitive team that I was leading at that point, because I wasn't leading it in the very beginning of E2, or were as Team Chaos, but I started to lead the team and build the team once the team fell apart to begin with, and yeah, so I took over at that point. And also at this, keep in mind, I was also at certain points when I was with E2, I was helping lead like the community side of things with the Battlefield division. I was also doing that, which was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of learning experiences and learned a lot of cool stuff from doing that and met a lot of great people. Um, but yeah, once the E2 competitive team kind of fell apart, even though the I liked the E2 community, there really wasn't a whole lot else for me to go. I mean, because most of the people that I was really close with and really close friends with were the people that were on the Battlefield competitive team. Um, and some kind of branched away and started kind of doing other things. And I still keep in touch with a lot of the guys that were on the team. Um, but yeah, it just wasn't really meant to be. So I still at this point at that point I withdrew from being the leading the community side of things in E2 for Battlefield, and I decided to disband the competitive team as well. At that point, we kind of all went our separate ways for the most part. Some of the guys, um, all the guys stayed in the E2 community. If I remember correctly, all of them ended up staying in the E2 community. Um, but the competitive team at this point was gone. So this kind of led to figuring out where I wanted to go, and yeah. And as you guys know, that's probably why, or that is why I didn't really upload all of our CEVO stuff, is because we ended up actually disbanding as a team towards the middle-ish to endish of the CEVO season. So I just didn't really want to upload it. So there's um there's unfortunately that. So once that finally happened, I actually, like I said before, I was Chaos Gaming Community merged with Optics Gaming Community to form E2. I was with Chaos Gaming, which is where I really started to become like with a PC community, which I'll get into that later towards the end of this video. Um, but Chaos actually ended up kind of reforming and kind of becoming their own thing again. So I stayed in the E2 community, but I also went and joined back into Chaos because they kind of formed their own identity again. I guess you could say. So now I'm in these two communities, but I still wanted to compete, even though I had friends from E2 in there still, and I had friends in Chaos. I still wanted to be part of a competitive team and be on a top tier team and compete. So I looked around, talked to different people, did some stuff, and I actually ended up joining Bottom Frag, um, which actually one of the players on Bottom Frag was one of the players on E2, End Effect. So it was pretty cool because he's one of my close friends, and it kind of made it easier for me to join the team at that point because I had somebody I knew. The other guys were really cool, and I am joining. But the thing is the team kind of gradually fell apart. Just people losing interest in the game, the competitive community being just the way it was and the way it is. Um, so that unfortunately kind of fell apart, and I wasn't with them for very long. So that kind of left me in a rut again. I left them, or that team disbanded not too long ago. Um, so this basically left me in kind of nowhere to really go. So I didn't really know what to do, and now that Hardline's out, I'm still trying to figure out what to do. I still want to do YouTube, obviously. I'll still talk to the people from E2 that I know, and still talk to the people from Chaos that I know. I game with them. You may see them in some videos or something like that. But I still wanted to compete because that's still one of the main reasons I do game, because that's the fun I get into it is dedicating myself to it, improving at it, and becoming a better player and wanting to win. Um, so I actually did end up joining a Battlefield 4 Here for Beer, or that's the name of the team is called, Here for Beer, which is a pretty funny name. But I actually playing for them currently. It's not something that is taking up all my time. It's not like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or taking up all my nighttime, I should say. It's not like I am scrimming with them every day. It's kind of like a side thing I do for competitive. I still want to join a 5v5 competitive team, for hardline most likely. Um, but this is the Here for Beer team that I'm playing for. We're basically just competing in like the ESL 10v10 stuff for Battlefield 4 still. It's not like a super serious team. We have a lot of talent on our team. We're a really good 10 team, but it's not necessarily serious in the sense of we're not practicing like 3 or 4 hours every single night, practicing. Um, yeah, so that's kind of in the position I'm in now, and I actually have probably some 10v10 scrim footage that I'll probably be uploading here really shortly. Um, so yeah, so this is gonna lead to the the end of this video where I want to kind of talk about my gaming story, and yeah, hopefully hopefully you guys find this interesting, and maybe maybe it'll sum up, or yeah, sum up some of the things I missed throughout this video or whatever. So yeah, so I started kind of like gaming to the point where like I was gaming like a decent amount, and I don't know, wasn't really necessarily taking it super seriously at this point, but just gaming a decent amount of time back on the PlayStation 3 on console playing Battlefield 3. And that's kind of where I got my roots into Battlefield. And I really enjoyed the game, played with family on console a lot, and I eventually ended up branching into PC. And when I did branch into PC, I wanted to play competitive. And when I wanted to play competitive, as you guys could see on one of my old videos, I mentioned that I joined a competitive team called ATF. And what ended up happening is I ended up joining ATF, and that team fell apart pretty quickly due just to the fact of lack of commitment as a team or whatever, and just things not really working out. So that didn't last very long. So once that happened, I actually ended up joining Chaos Gaming. That's, as I mentioned a little while ago in this video, and I ended up joining Chaos Gaming. And once I joined Chaos Gaming, I was just a player for them. Well, I wanted to compete, obviously, and I told them that I wanted to be on the competitive team, so I actually ended up making their competitive team because they decided they wanted to build one. And we started off at the very end of BF3, and we were a very new team. Didn't really have a whole lot of chemistry necessarily playing together in a competitive sense. We had a lot of talent on our team. We just we didn't have all the necessarily tools and assets to be like a top tier competitive Battlefield 3 team at that time. So when Battlefield 4 came out, we continued to play. And we did pretty good in some like leagues such as TWL. We didn't do too bad. We weren't like a top tier team by any means, but we weren't the worst team either. And we had a lot of fun playing and stuff like that. And at this point, throughout this time and stuff, I'm learning a decent amount about competitive and just things like that. And then eventually, as I mentioned earlier in this video, we merged with Optics Gaming to form what is E2, which led to me the E2 team playing together, and then the E2 team falling apart, and me rebuilding the E2 team, and then the E2 team falling apart again, which leads me to where I am now. Now, I still do play on console to this day with family members and such. So that's just kind of like my story of how I've gotten to where I am, and hopefully that sums up kind of the videos, like I said, how back when I was the very beginning of this channel, how bad of a YouTuber I was, and how I just didn't, probably even most of the time I've spent into this YouTube on this YouTube channel, I've just kind of not really been that great of a YouTuber. I haven't really kept you guys updated with stuff, and yeah, that's why. Yeah, I basically already mentioned this. I want to focus on making sure you guys are up to date and more involved and stuff like that. So that's basically brought me to where I am now. Um, so I guess basically the only thing else to say is I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope this sums up a lot of your questions. Um, yeah, guys. So I'm gonna kind of ramble a little bit more about it, but once the E2, I kind of, looking back at it now, I realize how little I knew about competitive back in my end of BF3 days to about 8 months ago in BF4 days. Like, since about 8 months ago, since before then, I really didn't know that much about competitive. I may have not realized that then, but I realize now how little I truly know, and like how little I realized how hard it is to become a top tier team in a Battlefield game. Now, I've had a lot of fun learning all this stuff. I've gotten to compete against a lot of top tier teams, and it's it's been a lot of fun against there, and I really want to continue that. I want to continue to play Battlefield competitive and play on top tier teams and keep giving you guys content. So, nonetheless, I hope this video, I don't know, hopefully it just kind of sums it up. And if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything of that sorts, please don't be afraid to leave it in the comments. And I will do my best to reply to you guys if you guys have any questions or concerns. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have been around this channel for a while, I appreciate you guys for sticking around. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please click that like and subscribe tab. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.